Thank you for joining us this evening, and it is my delight to welcome everyone here to celebrate the Tri-State, RPA's 2025 Fall Gala. Yes! We're thrilled to have you all here with us tonight. By being here, you're helping create a more healthy, sustainable, equitable, and prosperous future for the region. I really want to thank all of our sponsors, especially our Crown sponsor, our gold sponsor, Crown Castle. Thank you so much. And all of our silver sponsors too, AECOM, Bechtel, Bloomberg Philanthropies, Boingo, the Central Park Conservancy, Con Edison, Cushman & Wakefield, Delta, the Durst Organization, Madison Square Garden, MPA Delivery Partners, the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, RWJ Barnabas Health, the Siegel Family Endowment, and United. Thank you all so much. Thanks also to the RPA board and staff. I am so honored to be able to work with such an incredible team. And I know you're all having so much fun talking. Okay, here I go. I'm going to do it. Shh. It always works. So, since 1922, RPA has been creating independent, research-based long-range plans for the Tri-State metropolitan region. And we are very fortunate to be able to work closely with our partners in federal, state, and local government, many of whom are with us tonight to show their support and commitment to the goals that we share. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer is going to join us this evening, and we have here tonight in the audience New York State Director of Operations Catherine Garcia, the DOT Commissioner Marie-Therese Dominguez, Housing and Community Renewal Commissioner Ruth Ann Wisnauskas, Port Authority of New York and New Jersey Executive Director Rick Cotton is here, MTA Chair and CEO Jano Lieber, and Construction and Development President Jamie Torres Springer, New Jersey Transit's President and CEO Chris Calori, Amtrak's Chairman Tony Kosha, and Special Advisor Andy Byford, the New Jersey Senate Deputy Majority Leader Paul Sarlo, and the New York State Assembly Member Michael Lasher, New York City Council members Yusuf Salam and Shekhar Krishnan, New York City Deputy Mayor for Operations Jeffrey Roth, EDC President and CEO Andrew Kimball, City Planning Commissioner Chair Dan Garodnick, Department of City Planning Executive Director Edith Sue Chen, and many, many other public officials. Can you just join me in thanking them all for being here this evening? By the way, if I mentioned all the former public officials, we wouldn't get to the rest of the program. I want to thank you for your leadership, and thanks to it, the city and region can celebrate many successes this past year, including, yes, the successful implementation of congestion pricing, adoption of the 2025-29 MTA Capital Plan, the passage of City of Yes for housing opportunity, dedicated funding for New Jersey Transit's operations, and new Acela trains for the Northeast Corridor, which I've ridden, and they're really great. I know which table that is. Plans are advancing for the Brooklyn Marine Terminal, Long Island City and Jamaica Queens, Midtown South, and the New Jersey State Development and Redevelopment Plan is going to be readopted. Large sections of the East Side Coastal Resiliency Project were opened up, and the Port Authority has broken ground on the bus terminal. Work continues to transform JFK. We're excited to see work begin on Phase 2 of the 2nd Avenue subway, the transformation of Penn Station, and of course the Interborough Express, which RPA first proposed in 1996. Thank you, Jano and Governor Hochul, for your leadership on that. But with all that said, we have suffered setbacks too, especially in offshore wind. As energy demand spikes and climate change accelerates, now is not the time to pull back from clean, renewable energy sources. In fact, the nation's first utility-scale project, South Fork Wind, has been operating off the east end of Long Island for the past year. This real-life case study is reliably providing clean power to over 70,000 homes through all seasons. Built at the new London Pier, the project provided over 1,000 jobs, and it continues to bolster the local economy. It's just a small vision of what could be so much more. And while we've had some success on the housing front, we shouldn't lose sight of the mountain we still need to climb. New York City's rental vacancy rate is currently 1.4%, and the home ownership vacancy rate is well under 1%. The region is about 500,000, short about 500,000 units where it needs to be, and housing production needs to more than triple to close that gap over the next decade. So it's no surprise that homelessness continues to rise. Last month, RPA and our partner Desegregate Connecticut hosted YIMBY Town in New Haven, bringing together over 1,000 housing advocates to work on a pro-homes agenda. We're still pushing for a special session in Connecticut to address that state's chronic housing shortage. To face these challenges, though, we can take heart from the lessons of other world cities. 2 weeks ago, RPA led a delegation of public officials to London to meet with their peers and see projects that demonstrated how much can be done. Thanks to the New York Community Trust, Delta, and United for sponsoring our travel, we visited new development projects like King's Cross. We rode on the Elizabeth line with the project engineers from Bechtel, and we learned about micromobility hubs and last-mile delivery systems with Amazon. New York City is the greatest city in the world, but spending time in London felt like a series of aha moments for us, realizing how critical improvements to transit, public space, and housing can change a community's quality of life. I'm so excited about tonight's program and our wonderful honorees. When Betsy Smith first gave me a tour of the Davis Center at Harlem Mere last winter, cold winter day, I could see how it would transform an entire section of Central Park and integrate the community into the park. Betsy, just yesterday morning, I was biking through Central Park and I went by it again, seeing thousands of people enjoying the park and that center, as they do every single day. This is one of the greatest urban parks in the world, and the Davis Center has achieved something remarkable, making it even better. And at RPA, we've been advocating for a new tunnel under the Hudson River for over 30 years. I was at a speech, many of us probably were, where Chuck Schumer first proposed the creation of a new commission with representatives from New Jersey, New York, and the federal government to oversee the planning, financing, and construction of Gateway. And his vision has become a reality. Speaking of the GDC, some folks may know, I want to recognize one person who's not with us this evening, Gateway Development Commission CEO Tom Prendergast, who suffered a health incident recently. He's recovering well. Tom is a friend, a former RPA board member twice over, and an extraordinary public servant, and we all wish him a speedy recovery. So before I introduce the first honoree, we have a short video about RPA's Above and Beyond Award that I think we'd like to show right now. Can we run the Above and Beyond video, please?
Each year, Regional Plan Association presents the Above and Beyond Award to an RPA board member whose efforts on behalf of the organization and impact on the region have been exemplary. RPA is a small but mighty organization with only 30 full-time staff members working to create a better future for the tri-state region. We're honored to have a board of directors that aid in this work, providing insight and expertise. We select honorees that go beyond what is expected, serving as a guide and a support for our work. We're thrilled that this year's honoree will join their ranks and be recognized not only by RPA, but by their peers. Please join us in celebrating this year's honoree.
Wonderful. So this year's Above and Beyond Award winner is Jeannie Birch. I have to coax her up. Jeannie is an internationally recognized leader in urban planning and policy. Jeannie served on the New York City Planning Commission from 1990 to 1995, was a jury member for the World Trade Center Design Competition, chaired the UPenn Department of City and Regional Planning from 1998 to 2008, and has been the Lawrence C. Nussdorf Professor of Urban Research and Education at UPenn since 2006. She's also been an RPA board member since 2016. Jeannie's outstanding academic credentials include serving as the editor of the Journal of the American Planning Association, chair of the Planning Accreditation Board, and president of the Association of Collegiate Schools of Planning. In the early 2000s, Jeannie worked with RPA and partners like Marilyn Taylor to create the America 2050 Prospectus, which identified megaregions, clusters of metropolitan regions where the vast majority of American growth was occurring, and she sponsored research and scholarship to better understand the connections within and between megaregions and what they meant for national policy. I can recall that when we started to see the US Department of Transportation having maps of the nation that had the America 2050 map that's superimposed in the background, we knew that we were having an impact. More recently, Jeannie has been a leader in global urban policy through her extensive work with the United Nations. She was chair of UN Habitat's World Urban Campaign, co-founder and president of the General Assembly of Partners, and led inclusive planning initiatives like the World Urban Forum. Jeannie's career exemplifies service and excellence, so it is my great pleasure to welcome RPA's 2025 Above and Beyond Award winner, Jeannie Birch.
Tom, what a beautiful introduction. Thank you. Good evening, members of the RPA community. It's an extraordinary honor to accept this recognition. And I do so on behalf of the entire Board of Trustees, past and present, and in praise of RPA's energetic and visionary leaders and hardworking staff. For over a century, the RPA has drawn together dedicated and politically savvy civic leaders and professionals, united in their commitment to building a greater tri-state metropolitan region. What began as a vision for 5,500 square mile area with 9 million people across 22 counties with some 400 jurisdictions has grown into a thriving 13,000 square mile network spanning 31 counties and 800 cities, now home to 23 million residents. Reflecting on these 100 years, it's clear how profoundly the RPA has benefited from exceptional leadership. Individuals like George McEnany, a journalist, a banker, New York City comptroller in the 1930s, McKim Norton, lawyer, banker through the mid-20th century, and in recent decades, influential city planners, Dick Anderson, Bob Yarrow, and our own Tom Wright. Their efforts have helped sustain RPA's standing at the forefront of planning, not just regionally or nationally, but globally. I can confirm that RPA's pace-setting achievements are both a model and a source of inspiration worldwide. A closer look at the mission statements guiding RPA's 4 major plans reveals the secret sauce that has yielded this lasting impact. The organization was born in 1929, as you all know, led by reformers determined to bring order and efficiency to the rapidly growing metropolis. The first plan set the standard for metropolitan planning, envisioning an integrated network of highways, bridges, and tunnels. The decade-defining plan for New York City and its environs committed to this mission: to guide the physical development of New York metropolitan region and enhance the quality of life of its inhabitants without regard to political boundaries. That was in the beginning of that plan. That's what they said. Yes, that was needed at that time. And where would we be today without the George Washington Bridge and the other infrastructure of RPA's metropolitan transportation loop? 3 decades later, in 1968, the second regional plan declared its ambition, it's a very long ambition now, and these are their words, to guide the growth of the New York metropolitan region toward an environment that is socially just, economically productive, ecologically balanced through policies that strengthen city centers, preserve open space, and improve the mobility of its residents. Here, RPA was at the forefront in linking inclusion, sustainability, and spatial planning by strengthening city centers, preserving open space, and improving mobility. Well before such ideas became mainstream, the Brundtland Commission report, which defined sustainability, would appear 20 years later. And where would we be today without the Gateway National Recreation Area, the Pylands in New Jersey and Long Island, and many other accomplishments? By 1996, responding to crises from financial downturn to deindustrialization, the loss of 700,000 jobs was a shock. The third plan, Region at Risk, an ominous title, despite important victories in open space, transportation, and so forth, called for, here's their words, reconnecting the region to its basic foundations, the 3 E's, through investments that integrate and build on our advantages rather than focusing on just one E to the detriment of others. And where would we be today without East Side Access, without the Highlands Conservation Act, and so forth? Finally, the fourth plan in 2017, titled Making the Region Work for All, reflected 5 years of outreach and research. And it directly confronted new realities, as you heard tonight, and it's having some major accomplishments. Housing affordability, climate change, failing public faith in public institutions, accompanied by a sense of hopelessness that the region's problems were too big to solve. Well, we know RPA wouldn't go with that, and its mission now is to achieve greater equity, shared prosperity, better health, and sustainability. The assumption is that physical improvements to the metropolitan region must serve these 4 core values. And where would we be today without the plan's already accomplished achievements? You heard them. The list is amazing. But let's mention them again. Congestion pricing, of course. And very much we hope for the restoration of the Gateway funding. Throughout the years, one lesson is clear. Civic groups, as exemplified by RPA, play an essential role in providing the visions, the long-term strategies, and their advocacy that metropolitan regions need. And this is fueled by 4 enduring features that are in the RPA DNA that have powered this impact. First, grounding recommendations in robust evidence and using compelling visions, maps, scenarios, images, bring these ideas to life. We can see these recommendations as well as want them. Deepening and broadening community engagement, and above all, persistent advocacy in public and behind the scenes. In closing, the Regional Plan Association's legacy demonstrates that shaping a thriving, resilient, and inclusive metropolitan region is never accomplished by single plans or individuals alone. It is the result of a century-long commitment to an evidence-based vision, authentic engagement, and tireless advocacy. As the challenges before us continue to evolve, from climate resilience to affordable housing to equity and restoring public trust, RPA's enduring strength remain as vital as ever. Together, let us honor the spirit of those who came before us by redoubling our own efforts, grounded in fact, inspired by possibility, and ensure that this extraordinary region not only meets today's needs, but sets the standard for a vibrant metropolitan future worldwide. Thank you for the privilege of working.
Thank you, Jeannie. That was amazing. No, thank you so much. We're going to do a photo with the map here. We have a map from the second regional plan that Jeannie was talking about of the Northeast mega region that we have framed here for her. And Jeannie, thank you so much for those comments.
Good evening, everyone, and congrats again, Jeannie. I have a few words to say, but before I do, I'm very pleased to bring up our Senate Minority Leader, Chuck Schumer, who's been a wonderful champion of the Gateway program.
Thank you, Kate, and thank you, Tom, as well. And I'm so glad to be here. I try to come every year. And Tom and Kate have done an amazingly great job leading the RPA through good times and bad. I'm glad to have you both as partners, allies, fighting for public transit, economic development, strategic planning in America's biggest and most important metropolitan region. We are the greatest transportation infrastructure region in the world. I want to thank my friend and your chairman, Ray McGuire. Ray, thank you for all you do to support this organization and our city. And I want to thank all of you for being here, for caring about the future of our subways, our buses, our commuter rails, our airports. We have tonight here in this room an incredible cross-section of elected officials, industry leaders, community advocates, and others who represent the wide range of people and interests that support the PRPA and support public transit. Right now, more than ever, we need you all in this fight. Now, I'd like to single out one group of our honorees tonight, the commissioners of the Gateway Development Commission. Co-chairs Alicia Glenn and Balpreet Grewal-Verk, Vice Chair Tony Kosha, Commissioners Marie-Therese Dominguez, James Barbie, Amy Rosen, and Victor Holinsky. Let's have another round of applause for the great job these honorees do. And as most of you know, I'm the proud father of the GDC. Years ago, I worked closely with both governors and their state legislatures. It wasn't easy to pass matching bipartisan legislation to establish the GDC, the vital vehicle to plan and manage the building of the most important infrastructure project, not only in our region, but in the whole nation. Yes, we are. I'm proud of how far we have come since then. Through many twists and turns, we were able to sign the full funding grant agreement last July, a huge milestone, a huge step forward. And of course, profound challenges to Gateway have now emerged. But I'm working closely with Governors Hochul and Murphy, along with the leaders of GDC, Amtrak, and the great union leaders like Gary LaBarbera of the New York Building Trades. And I want to mention, as I mentioned Gary, our construction workers every day do great jobs, and they risk their lives for us. And one of them, unfortunately, fell to his death this afternoon, and we think of him and the sacrifice of so many of our construction workers. Anyway, Gary is here, and I also thank the leaders in real estate and business and culture and retail and hospitality and more to keep up the momentum for this vital project. You all know how important this project is. You played such a strong role in getting it done. And the RPA estimates that the positive economic benefits of building these two tunnels to be on the order of $450 billion. That's nearly $500 billion. We also know why it's the most important infrastructure project in the country. If those tunnels fail, it will be catastrophic, not just for the Northeast economy, and our Northeast economy, of course, depends on these tunnels, and that represents about 20% of the GDP of America, but it will have a profound effect on the whole national economy. So much commerce depends on a safe and reliable railway connection beneath the Hudson. Now, we all know we have challenges. We dealt with something similar in the first term when Trump first tried to take Gateway hostage, and there were some dark moments. But we kept the faith. We kept fighting, and it paid off. I have no illusions about the challenges we face again now, but I believe once again the same approach and working with you will vindicate us and Gateway in the end. It will get done. And Gateway is more than just about putting our region to work. It's a symbol of the power of American greatness and American ambition. It's a project that shows the U.S. can do big, hard things. The project is not only a gateway connecting the country to new vital transportation, it's a gateway to a new chapter in American building, a symbol that America can once again do big things. We cannot, we must not, let it become a symbol of American dysfunction. My friends, we know that when we work together, when we make the indisputably positive case for public transit and vital infrastructure investment in the region, there's no limit to what we can achieve together. During Biden's first term, coming out of the depths of the pandemic, we were able to secure hundreds of millions of dollars through COVID relief and tens of billions more for this region in the bipartisan infrastructure law, the most any region has ever received from the federal government. And it supported the MTA and Amtrak and Metro North and the Long Island Railroad and New Jersey Transit, the Port Authority, our airports. The investments we made in the bipartisan infrastructure law also turns into billions of dollars in funding for Gateway and the Second Avenue subway. These investments will power the next chapter of the region's public transit network, and we are not turning back now. We must stay united, focused, committed to the task at hand, and work both nimbly and boldly to forge a solution to this challenge and continue to move forward until we succeed. And I want to conclude by telling a story about my dad, who passed away a few years ago. He was 98. He had a tough life. He was a really talented guy, but didn't get many breaks. He had this junky little exterminating business. My sister once sent him a Father's Day card that said, "Dad, we're the only family that associates the smell of love with DDT." But he taught me values. He's still with me today, teaching me those values. And two of them have stayed with me. One, always try to help people who need help, and that's why I went into the profession I did. But second, he said, when you're doing something important, look inside your heart. Make sure it's the right thing to do. And then, if you persist and persist and persist and never give up, God will reward you, he said, and you will succeed. My friends at RPA, we will persist and we will persist and we will persist in making sure Gateway gets built, in making sure our region stays the most robust transportation conjunction in the world, and together we will never give up and we will succeed. Thank you. Have a great evening, everybody. Enjoy your dinner.
We are so pleased to be honoring the Gateway Development Commissioners tonight. with our Making It Happen Award for their vital role overseeing the country's most urgent infrastructure project. But before I get started, we wanted to send our deepest condolences to the family of a worker who suffered a fatal injury on the job today at Hudson Yards concrete casing site. GDC is advancing vital elements of the Gateway program, new tracks and tunnels between Newark and New York's Penn Station, and repairing the 115-year-old train tunnel under the Hudson River. These projects will increase reliability for 200,000 daily commuters and greatly improve Amtrak service up and down the Northeast Corridor. The benefits will extend far beyond train commuters. By reducing traffic, cleaning the air, and creating jobs, the Gateway program is a win for everyone in the region. Thanks to bi-state collaboration, GDC was created in 2019 and enacted through parallel legislation in New York and New Jersey. Since that time, the commissioners, GDC staff, and many others, the Hudson Tunnel is now under construction and employing tens of thousands of people. For decades, RPA has supported the new tunnel and the entire Gateway program through our groundbreaking research and tireless advocacy. RPA's latest research shows that the entire Gateway program will bring over $400 billion in economic benefit and 46,000 jobs annually. Many in the room know that the Hudson Tunnel should have been completed years ago. I was actually on maternity leave with my first child when ARC was canceled. My son is now 5'9" and thinking about college. Our society should really be able to build tunnels faster than we build young men. We owe it to ourselves in the future generations to finish the Hudson Tunnel project and the entire Gateway program so it delivers what we deserve: jobs, cleaner air, and better transit. So we're thrilled to have all 7 GDC commissioners with us tonight: Jamie Barbas, Tony Kosha, Marie-Therese Dominguez, Alicia Glenn, Balpreet Grewal-Verk, Victor Herlinsky, and Amy Rosen. Let's give them a round of applause. In my introduction, I wanted to recognize some of the day-to-day tasks of these commissioners. So as I prepared my remarks, I asked Google's AI, is being a GDC commissioner a fun job? The answer I got back was pretty clear: no. Being a GDC commissioner is not a fun job, at least in a traditional sense. The GDC commissioner position was described as demanding, complex, strategic, and yet uncompensated. Of course, I then asked AI what a fun job is in the traditional sense, and I got these answers: zookeeper, food stylist, and golf caddy. So we can only be thankful these commissioners and the staff at GDC decided not to take the fun job and be zookeepers, but instead dedicate themselves to pushing forward this complex infrastructure project. So thanks to the GDC staff, and we're sorry Tom Prendergast isn't with us tonight, and we hope he recovers, and everyone else who's made it happen. So it's my great honor to bring up the commissioners, but before I do, we just have a short video about the Making It Happen Award.
Each year, the Regional Plan Association presents the Making It Happen Award to leaders who are dedicated to making our region work for everyone. RPA recognizes the importance of strong leadership in making our region affordable, sustainable, prosperous, and equitable. We select honorees that exemplify this mission, dedicating their work to building a brighter future for our region. Past awardees span numerous fields and roles, from civic leaders and business executives to environmental advocates and technical experts. All stand out from their peers in their commitment to the work they do and the communities they serve.
We like to say one of our primary missions at DOT is providing people with transportation choices. We need to put some more alternatives on the table.
We're thrilled that this year's honoree will join their ranks and be recognized not only by RPA, but by their peers. Please join us in celebrating this year's honoree.
Great, I'm pleased to bring up Tony Kosha, Alicia Gann, Valpreet Graywal-Verk, Marie-Therese Dominguez, Victor Herlinsky, Amy Rosen, and Jamie Barbas.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Kate, for those kind words. And thank you to Ray, Tom, and the entire RPA team for this tremendous honor and for your steadfast support of the Hudson Tunnel for many, many years. And before I continue, as Senator Schumer mentioned earlier, we unfortunately had a fatal accident at one of our project sites earlier today. An employee of the New York Concrete Corporation lost his life after a serious fall. I'd like to have a moment of silence for him. Thank you. On the behalf of the Gateway Development Commission, I want to extend our deepest condolences to the workers' family, friends, and colleagues. Even as we accept this honor tonight, we do so with heavy hearts and with a renewed commitment to ensuring that every person who goes to work on our projects returns home safely. So tonight, we are accepting this award on the behalf of the thousands of workers who show up every single day to our sites and work hard to build the Hudson Tunnel project. We have an incredible group of people in front of me, from Rick Cotton and so many others, Kevin Corbett, and of course, Chris Calori, my dear friend. And I want to also take a moment to thank Governor Murphy, of course, from New Jersey, Governor Hochul of New York, and my co-chair, right behind me, Alicia Glenn. Our vice chair at Gateway Development, Tony Kosha, who you all know well, my voice of reason. Thank you, Tony. And our stellar group of fellow commissioners who flanked this stage, Jamie Barbas, Marie-Therese Dominguez, Victor Herlinsky, and Amy Rosen. And the many partners, yes, of course, applause for all of them. And the many partners and leaders in this room who have championed the Hudson Tunnel project. We have earned this recognition today together. We have many years of hard work ahead of us, 10 years almost to be exact. But I am inspired by this room, by every person here, by every entity, by every partner that's here this evening, by the countless writers, over 200,000 of them, who depend on us, as well as every single worker, like the one I mentioned earlier today, who unfortunately dedicated his life and their time and their effort to this project. Thank you all for joining us. Your perseverance has brought us to this moment, and your ongoing support will be critical as we together finish the job we started. Thank you so much for this recognition. We appreciate it. And thank you to my co-chair, my vice chair, and the fellow commissioners that are on the stage today. We couldn't do this without them, and we couldn't do this without you. Thank you, RPA, for this tremendous recognition. Appreciate it. I think we stay up here for a minute. Jamie. We're
giving everybody 5 minutes back.
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
go
there we
ahead.
go.
All
Well,
right,
then we have a
all
quick
good.
photo. All right. So now I think the wonderful Cipriani folks are going to bring out our main course. We've got a few minutes to eat, and then we're going to do the final honoree, and our chairman, Ray McGuire, will kick that off. But so just enjoy your meals. Thanks so much, and we'll be back up here in about, I'm looking to Lacey, 10 or 15 minutes or so to finish out the program. Thank you. RPA is a small but mighty organization committed to the long-term health, prosperity, sustainability of New York and the metropolitan region.
We work to make the region work for everyone. So that looks like research, that looks like advocacy, and that looks like good planning and being an honest broker of truth.
We think regionally about issues. We also think long-term. We integrate transportation, economic development, resiliency and sustainability, and health equity.
We do a lot of collaboration with partners and stakeholders to build consensus across our critical issue areas.
Congestion pricing is bringing less traffic and cleaner air to Manhattan's central business district, but it's also bringing new train cars to the G train here in Brooklyn.
Here at RPA, we care a lot about things that move people and goods throughout our region. From the big things like the Gateway program, to mid-sized things like moving freight access, to smaller things like bike and pedestrian safety.
Gateway is looking to do track improvements on the Northeast Corridor to improve resiliency and reliability of the train network. If we build the Gateway program, we can actually double the train capacity between New York and New Jersey.
In Connecticut, we are focusing on transit-oriented communities to get people to work, live, and ride near where they live.
So here at RPA, we're focused on planning at the time of a climate crisis. That means both finding ways to reduce our greenhouse gas emissions while also adapting our communities to the climate impacts that we face.
No matter how you look at it, we need a lot more housing in the region. We're actively going to lose up to 82,000 homes just in the 5 boroughs, Westchester and Long Island, through climate change and flooding.
Can you say, build more housing? We need more housing.
Our current zoning regulatory framework only allows us to build up to 45% or less than half of the total housing need that we expect by the year 2040.
We need to be able to build more homes in a way that doesn't just solve our housing crisis, but also solves our climate crisis.
Flooding is a big risk to the region, and right now we're looking at the impact to small businesses and what we can do about it.
I've been working on accessory dwelling units in New Jersey to create more housing without having a huge construction load.
I'm looking at data centers because their growth will lead to a surge in energy demand in the region.
But RPA doesn't just work in a vacuum. We're also heading our Healthy Regions Planning Exchange to ensure health and sustainability, equity, and prosperity for anyone who calls those regions home.
For all of you who have supported us, who believe in the intergenerational impact that we make together, thank you.
Good evening. The participants of Table 5, great to see you standing, probably a little better to see you sitting. I'm reminded of an evening like this. I grew up in the church, so what a minister would say is, for those of you who are being attended, look to the person to the right of you and say, be quiet. Look to the person to the left of you and say, you too. Thank you. My name is Ray McGuire, and I stand here as the chair of the RPA. Almost 3 years ago, after having been in the arena to become a public servant, I was then selected to become the chairman of RPA. I have to digress, though, given that I got what they say in the vernacular of athletics, I got a little posterized in that run. I am reminded, and I'm not quite certain how this is going to go down, I'm reminded of the great Ed Koch when he met the same fate. And what Ed said then and what I'll say now is the people have voted, and now they shall be punished. We have better days ahead. Anyway, tonight, as I am in the process of transitioning out of the chairmanship role, I cannot overstate the pride and the privilege and honor to have served and supported the RPA. The staff, leadership, and board have been extraordinary. Tom, Kate, Lacey, you all have been extraordinary. Thank you. And please indulge me, the board, thank you for investing in me and trusting me as the steward of the RPA. Indulge me, if you will, if I could ask the board of the RPA to please stand and be recognized. And to the public leaders here, many of whom have been identified, your presence is a clear indicator of your support of our mission and tonight's distinguished honorees. Each of you present here, thank you. To serve you is why the RPA exists. Your support of this great institution is what makes all this possible, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to be in community with you. It is no secret that much has changed since we gathered here last year. We are in the midst of a challenging contest for the mayorship of this great city. Much feels uncertain or tenuous. The economic uncertainties in Washington are being felt locally and throughout the region. Civic life is in flux. Major projects have precarious futures. New technologies are changing the way we think and work. When polarization, weaponization, divisiveness, and the isms live without boundaries, the RPA has risen above the fray. It has demonstrated that notwithstanding the challenges, it has had the courage to stand. Throughout our 100-plus year history, we have followed our true north, our mission, to advance a long-term equitable economic and social progress of this entire region, uplifting the best ideas and investing in the people and the infrastructure of the region that we love so deeply. I am heartened and inspired to know that so many of you before us tonight stand shoulder to shoulder with us on this journey. As we think about the mission of RPA, our three honorees reflect the best of that mission. They're part of the relentless effort to guide progress and development for the better, no matter the political or economic conditions of the time. Their passion, their commitment, their vision, their drive, all help create a region that lifts us all up. We thank them for their leadership and for their partnership. I'd like to add my congratulations to Jeannie Birch. I want to also congratulate the commissioners of the Gateway Development Commission on Making It Happen Award. All of you all are truly making it happen. And of course, there sits long-standing friends of mine at table 2. It is great to see you all. Betsy Smith and Central Park Conservancy, we're here to honor the Project of the Year Award. I can see sitting next to you at the table is your other half who've had such a distinguished career making it all very possible. Rick, it is great to see you. Betsy, I've long admired and been inspired by your leadership. The Davis Center at Harlem Mirror is a visionary project that has created an oasis on the north end of Central Park for all to enjoy. I've been there during the summer and experienced a long and patient lines of families waiting to experience the mirror. Thank you, Betsy, and your team, including your project partners, for showing what a truly transformative project can mean for the entirety of not only the city, but this region. We are so honored that you have lent your intellectual talents and vision to this city and to this project. Now it's my pleasure to welcome Councilman Shekhar Krishnan to the stage to present the Making It Happen Award. The councilman, let me go at it first, Councilman, represents Jackson Heights, Elmhurst, and Woodside and Queens. See, I knew there was going to be a shout out for you. As chair, Shekhar negotiated the highest funding ever for New York City parks, the highest funding ever. That requires or should engender a shout out not only from those people in Queens, but Manhattan and the other 3 or 4 boroughs as well. So thank you. You served as a council member, a longtime community activist, and a civil rights lawyer. You also co-founded Friends of Diversity Plaza, helping to showcase the public space that can bring people together. Please join me in welcoming the effective councilman, Shekhar Krishnan.
Good evening, everyone. It's so nice to see you all. First of all, thank you so much, Ray, for that unnecessary introduction. I appreciate all the exaggerations very much. But it's so good to see you all tonight. I am New York City Council member Shekhar Krishnan. My district is Jackson Heights and Elmhurst, Queens in the City Council. I see there's some Queens representation here too. And I'm proud that our neighborhoods of Jackson Heights, Elmhurst, and Woodside are 3 of the most diverse immigrant communities on the planet. And I know you all are eating an amazing dinner tonight, and I may be biased, but I do think Jackson Heights also has the best food in New York City as well. I want to thank Tom, Ray, everyone at the Regional Plan Association for your tireless dedication, commitment, and ambitious vision for public space and public transit in this city over years. With RPA at the helm and all the work that we are doing together in city, state government, and federal government with you all, it has been exciting and inspiring to see the changes that have come to this city, going back years and most recently to congestion pricing, and so much more that I know will happen. You can give it congestion price, give a big round of applause too, that's right. We are seeing the incredible benefits of it. In addition to my representation of neighborhoods in Queens, I'm also the chair of the Council's Committee on Parks and Recreation, and I'm so honored to be here tonight. We can give Parks a big round of applause too. And I'm proud and excited to join all of you and the RPA in celebrating the city's newest park destination, the Davis Center at the Harlem Mirror. What makes New York City a world-class city, as we all know in this room, is our willingness to think big, to take on and deliver projects that respect every New Yorker by being bold, imaginative, high-minded, and well-designed. But ambition, while necessary, can only take things so far. Ambitious ideas for the public realm need resources, and they need champions. The aging Lasker rink and pool at Central Park's North End needed that kind of ambitious and creative champion. And that's exactly where the the Central Park Conservancy stepped up. As we all know, Central Park is more than just a place to relax, and the Conservancy is more than just its caretaker. It is one of New York's most essential and reliable civic anchor institutions. Think about the last tree you admired in the park, or the last time you took your kids to the playground, or perhaps a few minutes you stole for a quiet walk. None of it would be possible without the work of the Central Park Conservancy. We know this as we walk through Central Park, as we walk around it in the streets of Manhattan. But I can tell you that the Conservancy never understood its mission simply to be confined to Central Park or even Manhattan for that matter. As we all know, the need for extraordinary public spaces stretches across our city, and it is now more urgent than ever before. I think about this all the time because my own council district in Queens, in Jackson Heights, we have the least amount of green space of any council district in New York City. Frankly, that's what motivates my advocacy as the Parks Chair of our City Council. And I do believe expanding access to public space for every New Yorker, expanding access to green space for every New Yorker, thinking about parks from the standpoint of equity, and being ambitious about creating that public and green space where it doesn't exist, that is the next frontier of our work in New York City to reimagine our streetscape and our landscape. Now, in Jackson Heights during COVID, residents in our neighborhood sought to change the reality of the lack of green space. We were the epicenter of the pandemic nationally, with Elmhurst Hospital in my district too. We sought to change that inequity by creating an open street on 34th Avenue in Jackson Heights. That's right, that's right. I am proud to say it is the longest open street in New York City, stretching 1.3 miles, 26 blocks long, a street formerly for cars, an avenue formerly for cars, that is now a thoroughfare for pedestrians that we've renamed Paseo Park. And no one was more supportive of getting it off the ground, imagining its possibilities and what we could do to take it to the next step than Betsy Smith and the Central Park Conservancy. That's right. Paseo Park is a radical idea. It is challenging the boundaries of what is possible with public space in New York City. 6 pedestrian plazas that we've created during my term in the council, car-free, and one in front of every single public school, 6 public schools on the avenue. The first ever super block in New York City. And the result of that work has been a 70% decrease in crashes with pedestrians in Jackson Heights. It's a radical idea, just as Central Park was a radical idea in 1858. But the Conservancy and Betsy understood that its mission was not simply supporting and stewarding Central Park and its future, but also to support projects like Paseo Park, to take an active role in making sure that from its vantage point in the middle of Manhattan, it would work to help communities like my own in Jackson Heights to solve the glaring green space inequities we face. That is how Central Park, the Conservancy under Betsy Smith's leadership, has viewed its role in public space and green space dialogue in New York City. Our Paseo Park wouldn't be where it is today without the support of the Conservancy. Now, we know that the need for green space dates back centuries for New Yorkers. And the park itself was consequently born of the belief that everyone, regardless of their class or their station, deserved refuge, recreation, and peace in nature. Our green spaces are connected to our public health, our mental health, and well-being. They're not privileges, but they are rights for all of us. And today, the Davis Center at the Harlem Mirror continues this legacy for the millions of people who visit Central Park every year. And let's be clear, the Davis Center is not simply about replacing a failing building. It's about healing a part of the park that had been physically cut off for far too long and restoring its rightful connection to the Harlem community. That same notion of equity that we've been discussing throughout. On behalf of this city, I am proud to have played a small part in bringing it to life and joining the Central Park Conservancy and Betsy in that effort. Parks have a way of reminding us what really matters. Essential public spaces whose beauty and community and the way in which they bring us together underscores the belief that everyone deserves access to quality green space in New York City. That is also what Central Park, the idea and its existence today, demonstrates. For the Davis Center at Harlem Mirror, for all its work across the city, from Midtown to Jackson Heights and across New York, I personally want to thank the Central Park Conservancy and Betsy Smith for leading the charge, for setting a new bar for what is possible when civic projects are led with an uncompromising, unwavering commitment to design excellence and community partnership. That is what we honor tonight. Thank you all very much.
This is such a remarkable day for Harlem, for New York City, and for every person who has hoped to turn pain into purpose and injustice into joy. The unveiling of the Davis Center isn't just about a pool, a rink, or a stunning architectural accomplishment. It's a homecoming for me. It's a healing for me. It's a restoration for our community.
One of the most prevalent themes in both our approach and our execution of this project was reconnection. And that reconnection was primarily reconnecting the Harlem communities back into the park, but also reconnecting nature within this part of the park.
Lasker Pool and Rink filled in 6 acres of the Harlem Mirror. Literally, it was a dam from the south and it was a wall from the north.
So what was an object in the middle of the park became a frame. Everything moved aside for the landscape experience to come through.
I grew up in Harlem, and I remember I used to go to Lasker Rink and I saw Huddlestone Arch. A lot of people didn't know about Huddlestone Arch. And so now people get to really experience the North End.
The most important thing that we were trying to accomplish with the Davis Center was to actually offer more park back to the community. It was minimizing architecture and maximizing the park.
Projects should have a level of ambition that can be transformative and not be limited. And in civic spaces, it's about the collective experience. How are people going to live out their lives collectively in the space?
One of the things people say all the time is it looks like it's always been there.
And the idea that people have this sense that it's always been here, we've really done something. Because it's not about our design, it's about the experience that the people have in those spaces.
And that's what the Davis Center is all about. It really opened the park. I said it opened the heart of the park, especially in the North End. And from a community standpoint, it was important for us to listen to the community. What are their needs? What do they want?
Our work is very much based in community input. We worked with the community for years on what they wanted to see here.
The project began with the community. We had a meeting on the east side, 104th Street. And it was not only adults, it was kids too. And then out of that, you realize we can't keep this closed 6 months a year for just swimming and skating. And so that's where the green emerged.
In that community process, it brought out an awareness of all the different uses that happen in the park and how the site can be connective, but it can be a lot more through the entire course of the year.
So the community was really the voice behind thinking about not only just the design, but also the programming. No matter what your pocket says, you are welcome to come to the Davis Center because it will be free and low cost no matter the season.
If Central Park is the city's house, we've kind of created a family room that it never had for people to kind of live out their lives. And it's dynamic. The landscape is dynamic. It'll change seasonally. It'll change over time. And in a sense, in its operation, the Conservancy programming, there's a dynamic aspect to it. So it'll continually enrich the lives of people who use it.
Frederick Law Olmsted had a famous quote of landscape first, second, and third, and architecture after a while. That's what this project really does embody. This is a very, very beautiful building. It's very elegant, and its elegance is sort of subsumed into the landscape of Central Park, which itself is a work of art. And so this is a magnificent gift to the Harlem communities and a gift to the city of New York.
Please join me in welcome to the stage the longtime president and CEO of the Central Park Conservancy, Betsy Smith.
Thank you, Shekhar. I will say the project of the Harlem Mirror is much smaller than what the RPA usually appreciates and recognizes. But as I say to my husband, Rick Cotton, all the time when he starts to get a little too expansive, LaGuardia could fit inside of Central Park, so let's just like him. We're small but mighty, okay? Thank you, Shekhar, so much. Thank you to the RPA. My name is Betsy Smith. As you figured out, I am the president and chief executive of the Central Park Conservancy. It's a not-for-profit organization that has been entrusted by the city of New York to manage and to steward one of New York's, in fact, one of the country's most important public spaces. I want to begin by recognizing Councilmember Yousef Salon, who unfortunately couldn't be here tonight, but you heard him this evening on the video. He was an inspirational speaker at the opening of the Davis Center. I'm not sure anyone could reflect on the significance of the Davis Center with the depth that you heard from him in that video. I am honored to be here tonight to accept the Project of the Year award on behalf of the Conservancy for the Davis Center at the Harlem Mirror. The Conservancy has spent 45 years, and by the way, close to $2 billion, restoring the park to Olmsted and Vaux's vision of a welcoming and democratic space for all. The Davis Center was the last piece of this monumental restoration effort. The city approached us in 2017, asking for our help extending the life of the old Lasker Pool and Rink. It was an aging facility, as Shekhar said, that was nonetheless a beloved institution to the Harlem community. And we responded, the Central Park Conservancy, to that request, not with a Band-Aid, but with a completely new vision for the entire site, worthy of the community that surrounded it. And the city, to its great credit, embraced this very ambitious vision. And over decades of our long partnership, we have earned the city's trust in our great knowledge of the park, our expertise, and our deep relationship with our neighbors. This project cost $160 million. As I say, I know that seems small in this group. However, for us, this was a tremendously large project. The city committed $60 million. Alicia Glenn was here. She was pivotal in getting the city's commitment, and she was joined initially by Tom Kempner, our visionary chair, who promised to raise the rest of the money, starting with his own initial gift. And then we were off. I'd note that the Davis Center isn't just pioneering for the park, but it was really pioneering for the Conservancy itself as an institution. It is the largest, most complex project we have ever attempted. And as its success shows, as Shekhar said, when New Yorkers think big, we accomplish really remarkable things together. As I'm sure you can imagine, this is not me alone building this. A project of this scale and complexity requires an exceptionally capable and dedicated team, starting with our own staff. And alongside the Conservancy's talented in-house design team, led by Chris Nolan, who's here, our former chief landscape architect, the Davis Center was designed by Susan T. Rodriguez Architecture and Design and Mitchell Jurgala as executive architect, leading a deep group of design professionals, including Lara, Loring, Stantec, and Langen, and an equally talented team on the construction side, led by Seamus Henchy and Associates as owner's rep and E.W. Howell as our general contractor. The Davis Center at the Harlem Mirror and its programming was generously funded by a group of lead donors, and this was a remarkably responsible, generous, dynamic group of people. And two of our lead donors are here today, Andrew Davis, who gave the lead gift to this project, and Andrew and his wife, Kate. I just want to thank you so much. Tom Kempner and Kitty. Tom and Kitty Kempner, the first major donors to this project, and two other of its Conservancy trustees actually pulled this project together in a remarkably rapid and generous way. And the Stavros Niarchos Foundation, also wonderfully visionary, helped us fund the initial year of programming. So thank you to the city for entrusting us with this project, to our supporters who give life to the Conservancy's work, and most of all tonight to the RPA for recognizing us and this project, which has made us so proud. So thank you all.
Okay, so that rounds up the program. We have had an incredible night tonight. I just want to thank, first again, congratulate our incredible honorees. Jeannie Birch, thank you for your wonderful words and recitation of the history of RPA and the work we've done. Congratulations to the Gateway Development Commissioners for taking that unfun job and doing that work. It's so important, and we stand with you to support this. And Betsy, the inspiration that you and the Central Park Conservancy have provided with this project is really something, and I think, Shaker, I think you're right, that we want to see all of the parks and all of the communities in the city benefit from this kind of vision and commitment and dedication, and it's a wonderful thing. Do you want to say anything?
Thanks everyone for coming out, and I'm glad you all take unfun jobs because it makes our city and region a better place.
And I'm just going to close to say two things. One, thank you again to our supporters. With your generosity and support this evening, we've raised over $900,000 for RPA's work, which is really amazing and so important to the work we do. And so thank you for doing that. And I look out and I see all these incredible, dedicated public servants, folks in the public sector, people who have served in the public sector. I think in particular in transportation, with apologies to President Kennedy, perhaps there's never been so many folks and so much intelligence around transportation in New York together at one place and one time, except maybe when Dick Ravitch had dinner by himself. Go forth, enjoy the evening, have a wonderful night.